Right here in 2024, the world is in a state of a ball of confusion. It does nothing. The world problems or the world issues does nothing but revolves. It recycles. It recycles. It recycles. I'm gonna start off with something. Triple H. I'm gonna read the chapter, a couple of chapters out of the Fall of America. This isn't just for Triple H. Black Americans need to hear this altogether. This is why we wrestle with racism. Chapter is chapter 23 of the Fall of America, the dissatisfied. We are living in a time when dissatisfaction is 100% throughout the world of man and mankind. Therefore, we are living among the dissatisfied persons daily and nightly. No one is satisfied, though they may be righteous. They are not satisfied because they are living among unrighteousness. So the whole entire world of wicked and the righteous is upset due to dissatisfaction. The dissatisfied are gaining every day more and more among the people whom they hope to bring into the same conditions that they are in. And today, nothing is made so clear that the chief maker of dissatisfaction, the black people of North America, who are up from slavery, foundational black American, are the target of the white slave masters' children who wish to keep them here and keep them deprived of their salvation. If possible, the white man holds out promises to the black man only to deceive the black man. The white man fascinates the black man and tries to do that for the black man that the white man does not want to do. But nevertheless, he does these things in order to get hold on the black once slave to go to the white man's doom with him. The devil is open enemy of the original black people of the earth. Temptation. The white man is trying to tempt black man all over the earth to take part with what the white man evil and filth. Here in America, if you will bear me witness, sex talk is the topic of conversation. 24 hours a day on radio and television. These public broadcasts are to people contain some of the most filthy talk and some of the most filthy actions on the screen that we ever dreamed of hearing from a neighbor or even in private, not to think of in public. The black man in America is on the radio 24 hours a day. The white man loves to weigh the black people out of the filthy language of sex to see how many of our black people he can get to go to hell with the white man by persuading them with his sexual talk. It says the Holy Quran is 100% right. Read it and try and find something in there that's not true. If you think that you have found something, come to me and I will show you and the world that it is true. Black man, this is the end of the rule of the white man. God came to kill them for mistreating the black once slave here in America. God says in Isaiah that he will kill our enemy and call us another name. Black brother, you know what? I'm doing a disservice. I'm not a Muslim, but I'm doing a disservice. I'm skipping words. I'm going to restart this again. Black man, this is the end of the rule of the white man. Allah, God, came to kill them for mistreating the black once slave in America. Allah, God, says in the Bible, Isaiah, that he will kill our enemy and call us by another name. Black brother, this is going on right in front of your eyes. But you still think that the time is prolonged to distant future and that you will not live to see it. But I say to you all, in truth, that you are living in it now. The scientists of America know that America is on her way out. And since you, black man, are the righteous, perhaps all of you will be saved. For you are bound to submit, and when you see what is coming, Allah, God, will take you and me, call us after his own name, as I have preached to you for years. As long as we go in the name of the white man, we are his people to serve him and to go to his doom with him. The white man is stripping you of decent clothes to wear. Many of you come out of public one half nude. He is making you shameless. You are doing something that you did not know you would ever be able to do. But it is in you that you would like to obey the devil and not obey Allah, God, the God of righteousness, truth, freedom, justice, and equality. It is shameful. It is so shameful for you to sit and let your voices be heard on the radio and television, answering the filthy questions that the white man is asking concerning your own personal self and the way that you think. The white man is the only one trying to choose you to go to hell with him. The white man knows that there is no heaven for him. Will be no remnant of them saved, but the majority are going down, and they are taking a fighting chance of it in a way of deceiving you to go along with them. That is the reason both books, the Bible and the Holy Quran, teaches us not to let the arch deceiver deceive us. But the devil is doing it night and day. What do you think he has these 24-hour talk shows talking among you and with you, if it is not to get you to agree with them so that you go along with them to drop their doom? Certainly, they may hate me and the Muslims who follow me, but their hatred does not make any differences with us. Just as long as Allah God does not have hate for us, their hatred, as long as God does not have hate for us, their hatred goes for nothing. I just had to let that sit in for a second. As it is written, he whom Allah befriends is not disgraced. Allah, God, has always backed up his people who are of the righteous and who believe in him from ancient time until this day. Fear not. Lift up your heads in the pride of truth and love for your black your black man and the gods of black man. The dissatisfied must be removed from the satisfied of Allah and his people of righteousness. The lost God, black original aboriginal people in America who have the greatest gift coming to them of any people who lived in the past. They will have a new growth put into them, a new growth put into them, as they will be changed in the twinkling of an eye, as it is written in the Bible and in the Holy Quran. This change will take place after Satan has conquered and cast out of the earth from among the aboriginal black people to whom the white man is no kin. As we get ready to wrestle with racism and right now we are put into a position where we as Black Americans have to make a choice as to once again who is going to preside over us, when that shouldn't even be a factor of ours. It shouldn't even be a thought of ours. And I'm not gonna go there right now. Negro, uh, brother, this is a wrestling space right now. I just got to lead in the wrestling real quick. No disrespect, and I already know what time it is. And as we develop into conversation, um, obviously I need you. I am going. If you can stick around for a little while, I am going to integrate you into the conversation. I just need to get started on the wrestling aspect of it. But I definitely got you, brother, and I appreciate you showing up. Thank you. But right now we are put into a position to where we have to make a quick time decision with moving forward through America. I don't want to get off into all that right now because there's a lot of things going on in America specifically right now. And this is the last thing that we have to worry about is who's going to preside over us, because one thing about Black Americans is we know how to survive. And under any party, we are just going to have to survive the next 4 years. I need to move on from that right now. Right now, I'm definitely gonna get into it. There's a lot of things I got to get into right now, and the reason that I read this particular chapter out of this book, in which every Black American should read, no matter what your religion is, I take the religious aspect out of it for just a minute, and you're not necessarily supposed to do that, but the reason that I read that is because at the end of the day, you're going to see that whites are just using you to bring them down to their level. They know that they have some true destruction and mass destruction, and low key is happening right now. Mass destruction happening to them, and they do everything that they could to bring you down. This book was written I want to say off the top of my head, 1949, 1959. Um, I don't want to spend the time looking for that right now. I don't. It's just all everything is all through my notes, but around 1959. And if you listen to what he said about so much filth being spread to us, this by us through media forms. At that time, it was just radio and television, but there's many different ways to where you could hear all types of things, including these types of conversations here. And we've allowed ourselves to get so far removed from actually solving the problem. Black Americans, we got to stop. We got to take a step back, analyze everything, realize that the system of white supremacy and anti-Blackness isn't going to end if we continue on the path that we are, and that is living just for the day for most Black Americans. Just trying to survive the best way that we can. At the same time, we dying. And if we take that time to put the effort behind willing to die for our freedom, justice, and equality, fighting our enemy is not going to be that much of a fight. They're going to disappear. But their trickery brought it to where you feel like it's impossible. So now you are willing to settle. The more that we integrate, the more that we are willing to settle, and we are where we are right here in 2024. So it appears that I'm begging to integrate more Black Americans into these major professional wrestling organizations. the WWE and the AEW. Those are the two main companies that's representing America around the world. And we are content and satisfied, some of us, with the representation that we have had over, let's say, the past 2 decades, 2 or 3 decades. You are content because on, let's say, necessarily the women's side, you get Jade Cargill, you get Bianca Belair, you get Naomi. On the women's side, you on the Raw side, you get nobody, and that goes unnoticed. That goes untouched. I just sat up here and watched Raw just to watch it, and I seen a boatload of white women. Then I sat down and I'm like, damn, Raw don't have no black American women. They don't have no melanated women on Raw at all. And they brought Jade and Bianca, which was supposed to be there to celebrate them winning the tag team championship, in which white folk told me the AEW isn't, I'm sorry, that the WWE isn't racist because they won the tag team championship. And I'm sitting here looking at it like, what are we satisfied about? Bianca Belair has not progressed at all. And I love Bianca Belair. What she's doing right now is the reason why I love Bianca Belair. What she's doing right now. But they haven't done anything to amplify her and turn her into an actual superstar. Take her beyond what you believe her capabilities are. And you leave her stagnant. I'm going to talk a lot about Bianca Belair soon because it's a lot to get into when it comes down to her. What I mean by that is you allow people to get tired of Bianca Belair. They become dissatisfied with Bianca Belair. They're getting tired of seeing the same old shtick from Bianca Belair. But you are progressively moving her by putting on these meaningless feuds or meaningless championships. There's no substance behind what you're doing. You're just trying to parade her out there just to say that you have black representation, that black Americans have black representation, black American representation on their program. And there are a lot of white folk that are very tired of Bianca Belair. And I've seen some black people, I would say dark skinned people, melanated people, supposedly express the same feeling. Right before I came up here, somebody tried to tell me that last night Obafemi, who was a um, Nigerian, made a statement that, oh, back in my homeland, women are to be seen and not heard, or some shit like that. That's just culture. That's what they go by. That's how they do their women. Not to say it's right, not to say it's wrong, whatever. That's their shit. Everybody jumped all over it. And notice, black Americans or black people, melanated people, can only do what they are told to do. This person tried to make it seem as if Obafemi had some type of creative control to say some shit like that. And it's Obafemi that's the one that's catching the heat when you should be pointing the fingers at the white folk that wrote the shit, directed the producers to tell them to say the shit for him to say it on television and receive his paycheck. The black man is the fall guy. But ask yourself throughout history how many black Americans, black people, or melanated people have had creative control in the business as we wrestle with racism, right? Now all of a sudden it's a black man's fault. And going back to Bianca, to say that Bianca Belair doesn't have creative control over what she does. So this means that they are purposely not doing anything to elevate Bianca Belair into a greater stature, to let her go beyond her capabilities, so that when she does win women's championships, it would mean something. So that if she does team with Jade Cargill, it will mean something. These tag team title victories doesn't mean a damn thing to me, because this is nothing more than pandering. Black people are starting to notice that our representation has declined rapidly, as if it was there in the first place. It declined further than what it was just a couple of years ago. And now you bring in Jade Cargill and immediately attach her to Bianca Belair, as if Black American women can't stand out on their own. Because I'm gonna put you hip to this. What was Naomi doing the entire time that Bianca Belair was WWE Women's Champion? You can't have two Black American people successful at one given time. That's damn near impossible. So once they separate Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill eventually, how is they how are they going to be evenly distributed amongst the roster? And you got to realize that you still got Lash Legend, who may have to come up. You still got Jada Parker, who is Black American, but she's mixed with white. But whatever, she still got to come up. You still got another Black American that's mixed with white, Kiana James. Yeah, Kiana James, that's mixed with white, but she still got to come up. How is the locker room going to handle it when they see all of these melanated people in the locker room at one time? That's just the locker room. How are they going to present them on television when they are all on the same roster at one time? This is when truths start to get exposed. But we're going to keep an eye out on that. I want to bring an interesting part into this. And Barry, if you don't mind coming up for a second, can you grab a mic, please? If you're not available to speak, just put your thumbs up and I'll continue. But I think that you know where I'm headed next. Because, like I said, once you split Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill up, they're not going to make them successful at one time. I could already see Naomi demise. She already feel like a third wheel. What white woman feel like a third wheel in the WWE? What's even scarier is these Japanese women. Asuka, who is a phenomenal wrestler. I love Asuka. I don't watch Japanese wrestling, but I will watch her matches in Japan. She's a very great wrestler, and apparently she got a major contract signing, re-signing and whatnot, and got longer time, and I'm happy to see that. Problem is, in America, there are more Japanese women that is active on the WWE roster than there are foundational Black Americans that are in an American organization. And the favor, probably wouldn't even be a problem if the favor was available to be returned. But there are not any Black American women, maybe one or two. I don't know, so don't attack me if I don't know. But I did my research and I ain't see none. And there aren't any foundational Black American women wrestling in Japan on a consistent basis and are having consistent success in professional wrestling today. We're not having an even exchange here in an American company. Once again, I could go through The WWE, as America doesn't, the WWE not valuing Black Americans as actual citizens that can actually represent an American organization in a fake scripted sport to the world. And so we already got Naomi out of there, and that makes me concerned with Bianca Belair because Bianca Belair is a foundational Black American woman. Before I start with that, I just want to say one more thing. White folks sit up here and tell me that the WWE and Triple H, who is 100% head of creative, is not a racist organization because Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill won the WWE Tag Team Champion. The Jamaican Jade Cargill won the WWE Tag Team Championship. Well, how many? The WWE has uh, I don't have an exact number, but they has a vast variety of women, women on their roster. How many foundational Black American women can come together as a tag team and team up to challenge Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair for the WWE Tag Team Championship right now? Within your answer, you will find racism. But let me go back and go down to Bianca Belair real quick because my concern is with her. And Bianca Belair, no one should be able to deny, not even white folk. Although most of them have, I have seen quite a few that admit that Bianca Belair is one of the best female wrestlers in the world today and possibly ever. Although the WWE will not do anything to elevate her beyond where she is, the base of Bianca Belair is so great that her talent can expand. That thought of her being the greatest women's wrestler of all times is astonishing. For her to be just still stagnant and basic, that's how great she is. But the thing that I'm concerned about her with is she's not a foundational Black American. And Jade Cargill is a Jamaican. And I have no issue with Jade Cargill. I've followed Jade Cargill since I've, known her, and she hasn't, it seems that she hasn't been disrespectful to the culture. To Black American culture. She carries herself as a Black American woman, but she has made it clear on several occasions that she is Jamaican. You can't really nothing if you're not listening. You can't necessarily tell in her accent. She was born and raised in America, but her parents are Jamaican, and I'm concerned that they're going to completely knock Bianca Belair out of the box via Jade Cargill, so Jade Cargill can be the number one Black American wrestler Black American, I'm sorry, Black wrestler representing Black Americans at the top of the WWE on the women's side. It's coming. I can smell it a mile away. I can see it a mile away. It's clear. They may find some type of reason. Oh, Bianca Belair and Montez Ford got into it at an airport, so both of them are released from the WWE. Oh, she was rude to a white lady at the grocery store or some shit, so she's released from the WWE. Some way she's going to have to make her exit. And unfortunately, in WWE history backs this up, I don't recall seeing a Black American wrestler ever being able to have a send off and have a long lasting, impactful career and a send off like John Cena is about to have, or The Undertaker has had the ability to be in the WWE for 30 years on top, have a mainstay. Believe it or not, Undertaker is not a mainstream. He's not a household name. My mama don't know the Undertaker. She knows The Rock. It's a difference. But in the wrestling community, the Undertaker is down there, if not number one, the god of wrestling. And a lot of black Americans have never had the opportunity to have a consistent 30-year career and have a send-off like the Undertaker. Have a send-off like Randy Orton will have one day. 20 years in the in the WWE specifically. Eventually, they're going to have to make their exit. And obviously, one day, they're going to have to find a negative reason to drop Bianca Belair. Unfortunately, Jade Cargill is going to be the one that they move forward with, because Black Americans do not, res- I'm sorry, America, America, whites in America with the position of power, with the position of upholding a system of white supremacy and anti-Blackness against Black Americans. He's going to do that. And he could treat this Jamaican at his disposal. He could fuck on her. He could say, "Here, bitch, just all you got to do is just do this, and we'll give you a boatload of fucking money, and you say nothing, never." And she's never going to say anything. Tessa Blanchard, and I meant to talk about this last week. Tessa Blanchard, apparently, throughout her career, been walking around calling black women niggers and all types of shit. Apparently, she got exposed as being a racist, an open racist in the locker room. And apparently, she talked about how it affected her career, and it did. She was the first woman to ever hold a world championship on a national brand, a world championship. No woman has ever held the WWE title, world title, AEW title, WCW title. Um, None of them. TNA is the only one that put a woman on there. And, when that got exposed, she immediately had to drop that. Most of her book is just that and other. And the bitch is going to sit up here and talk about it had so much of an effect on her that she wanted to kill herself. Right? I don't give a fuck about a bitch that I suspect to be racist about their true feelings and their downfalls or whatever. I don't give a fuck about white folk like that. But I'm supposed to give a fuck about your ass. And then you sit up here and talk about the fact that you apologize to the person that you supposedly called a nigger, and she publicly accepted your apology. Come to find out, this woman, some type of African, I don't know. She's some type of fucking indie woman, independent woman. And she's not a black American. She's some type of African. She's not even that well known for, her national. You could type in her nationality and it comes up. But her accent says otherwise, and she up there all smiling and taking pictures with her, and this is the time for healing, and we should only love white folk because they may say something, they may say nigger, but they love us. Like, I'm tired of these people feeling like white folk gotta say nigger to our face to be racist. We're beyond that. Just so you know. And Triple H is racist. I don't give a fuck if he did put the tag team championship on Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. And to further Triple H being racist, Barry, I need you to come up for a second, but just give me 1 second real quick. Just to show you how bad it is right quick. I did a little bit of research. And I am going to go back and look at these PLEs before Triple H, because this may have been a trend before Triple H came into power. But let me just read this off real quick. These are all of the PLEs since Triple H took power. These are all of the black Americans and all of the melanated people, dark skinned melanated people that participated in these pay-per-views. All right. I want y'all to notice something, okay? The very first one in Detroit last year was SummerSlam 2023. Almost a Nigerian wrestled in a 25-man battle royal, a throwaway match. Apollo Crews, who is is he Nigerian too? Shit, I don't know. He's from Africa though, but he was in the battle royal, 25-man battle royal, and those were the only men, melanated men. There were no Black American men that wrestled at WWE SummerSlam last year. Bianca Belair is the only foundational Black American that wrestled at woman. She's the only foundational Black American woman, and she's the only foundational Black American that wrestled on the entire WWE SummerSlam. And she was in a triple threat match with Charlotte and Asuka, and she won the WWE Women's Championship before she lost it in 8 seconds via the Money in the Bank winner. Ilio Sky came out and cashed her Money in the Bank, and she was able to challenge for that championship and win. Now, I have no problem with that. I didn't have a problem. I have a problem with that. I didn't have a problem the year before when Bianca Belair lost to Becky Lynch in 26 seconds because the bitch came out of nowhere. She was gone for 6 months, and she come in, and this white woman flex her white supremacy. Oh, I got standings in this bitch. And at that time, Bianca Belair had a historic women's championship reign, and she had after a historic women's championship win, and you ended with that bitch coming in flexing white supremacy. I kind of gave that up because at the end of the day, I'm a wrestling fan, and I understand this did lead back to Bianca Belair winning the women's championship at WrestleMania against Becky Lynch. It did make sense. But for this to be 2 years in a row, and for her to be the only one representing foundational Black Americans on SummerSlam, which is WWE's second largest pay-per-view, PLE, what they call it now. Premium live event is what they call it now. So I'm gonna go back and forth, feed the pay-per-view or PLE. Y'all know I mean the same shit. But you do it for the second year in a row. This is like you purposely pulling these strings. You playing with these wrestlers like toys to make them look inferior to their white counterparts. Just to move on with this, the very next month, um, I was just making sure I'm not missing nothing. Yeah, I'm not making sure I'm not missing nothing with this. So the very next month, Triple H second PLE without, second PLE on his own, having 100% creative control. There was not a single melanated person that wrestled on this program, and there was not a single foundational Black American that wrestled on this program. This was his second one. The third one is WWE Fastlane. And this is the very first PLE without Vince McMahon in complete power. The McMahon family had no major controlling shares in the WWE by the time this PLE came out. And this WWE Fastlane. And you got a melanated person, Bobby Lashley, who is a Hispanic, who is his mother is a Panamanian, and we don't know what his father is because they made it plain that his father, they said that his father was an American that served in the U.S. military, but he did not raise Bobby Lashley, and he was raised. Bobby Lashley was raised on his own by his mother, who is a full Panamanian woman, and she could not speak English. And since we don't know the true ethnicity of his father, I cannot call him a foundational Black American. And I love Bobby Lashley. I have a hell of a respect for Bobby Lashley. I appreciate everything Bobby Lashley has done in this industry, but he does not represent me. And although I am happy for his success and I wish him the best in the future. But just to keep things in context, so I wouldn't stir no pots and none of that shit. I'm gonna say melanated people, just to keep the point going that even when you put these melanated people on the PLEs, they're still not great representation. Um, there was Bobby Lashley who teamed up with the Street Profits with Montez Ford, who is a foundational Black American, and Angelo Dawkins, who is a foundational Black American. And two were the only foundational Black American on WWE Fastlane 2023. No melanated woman wrestled on that pay-per-view. No foundational Black American woman wrestled on that pay-per-view. We're going to notice a trend. I want y'all to pay attention from here. WWE Crown Jewel, the only foundational Black American and the only melanated person that wrestled on that program was Bianca Belair, and that was in a loss. This was in Saudi Arabia. And I want y'all to remember something too. When they have these PLEs, this is why it's important to me. When they have these PLEs, that's extra income. That is a bonus of a few $1,000s. So now you're looking at Black Americans being affected economically. They're only working off of their base salary, as to where white folk, Asians, and Hispanics and Samoans can come in and pull these bonus checks. Bianca Belair was the only foundational Black American that wrestled in Saudi Arabia, and she lost. Survivor Series 2023. Bianca Belair was the only melanated and foundational Black American woman that wrestled, and she wrestled in the War Games multi-person match. The Royal Rumble, and I don't count these. When I bring these facts up to white folk, I don't count these because you got these people throwing away in throwaway matches. So I don't necessarily count the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. But for this program's sake, I am. For the WrestleMania, for the Royal Rumble 2024, there were no melanated or Black American people on the undercard, which is important. More important than the Royal Rumble. I probably would have been more inclined to want to include the Royal Rumble if they weren't on the undercard. But it's so much to try to explain and keep it in context. There were none on the undercard, and the Black American people that represented Black Americans in the Royal Rumble was Naomi, Bianca, and that's it. And Jade Cargill represented Jamaican represented melanated people. And then for the men, it was Carmelo. And then that was the only Black American in the entire Royal Rumble. And then you had Bobby Lashley and Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston is a Ghanaian. He's from Ghana, and he represented the melanated people. So even in the Royal Rumble, to where they have 30 men, and then in the other Royal Rumble, the women's Royal Rumble, to where they have 30 women, there were only one, two foundational Black Americans that wrestled. I'm sorry, three, with Naomi, Bianca, the Street Profits. I forgot they go as two. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. So that's 4, 5 that wrestled in the actual Royal Rumble. But again, that's a throwaway match, especially when they didn't even have an opportunity, and we knew it to win. Um, the next pay per view is Elimination Chamber. Where am I at? Okay, here we go. Elimination Chamber 2024 under Triple H. Bianca Belair and Naomi were in the Elimination Chamber match itself, and Naomi, the foundational Black American, was the first one eliminated. But those two women did represent foundational Black Americans in the PL at Elimination Chamber. Bobby Lashley represented melanated people at the Elimination Chamber. There was no foundational Black American represented. There was only one melanated person representing the men on WrestleMania, which I don't count a game because this is throwaway matches, but I'm gonna get through this. R-Truth did genuinely win the WWE Tag Team Championship with The Miz, a white man. But that is his tag team partner. He did win the WWE Tag Team Championship in the latter match that did feature the New Day. It was a 6-team ladder match. And the New Day, Kofi Kingston or Ghanaian, and Xavier Woods, the foundational Black Americans, they were the only, R-Truth and Kofi Kingston were the only two foundational Black Americans that represented foundational Black Americans men on night one. On the women's side, you had Bianca, Naomi, and Jade represent foundational Black American women, and Jade represented the melanated. On night two, you had Bobby Lashley representing the melanated, and you had Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford representing the foundational Black Americans, and Bobby Lashley representing the native. Those were the only Black people that melanated, dark skinned people were at WrestleMania. On night two, we only had two represent us on the biggest night. King of the Ring, King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia, you only had Bianca Belair and Jade, and they won the tag team championship. Those were the only melanated and foundational Black American representing us. Again, no foundational Black American men. At Clash of the Castle 2024, you had Bianca Belair and Jade lose the tag team championship. This was the month after the last one that I made. And then you had no foundational Black American men representing us, no melanated men representing melanated people. And Money in the Bank, you had Carmelo Hayes representing foundational Black American people and melanated, and he lost in the throwaway. Money in the Bank didn't have a chance of winning. SummerSlam, a year after Triple H took reign, there was not a single foundational Black American man or woman that wrestled on the program. So this push with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill wasn't represented at the second biggest pay-per-view. And then you had Bash at Berlin, which was just this Sunday, as to where the only foundational Black American that wrestled on the program was Bianca Belair, and you had the melanated Jamaican Jade Cargill win the WWE Tag Team Championship, and we are here where we are today. Barry, are you able to come up real quick? Well, we're trying to see if I can get him up real quick. Um, so you notice, if you look at the trend of these PLEs, you see that foundational Black American men specifically are non-existent. How you doing? Just pointing out these, exploiting these truths right quick. I
Oh
got white folk
yeah,
telling
right.
me that the problem is solved, but the Black American man is
No,
nowhere to be
no,
found.
right. And what's worse, you got a lot of black, washed, brainwashed Black Americans, unfortunately, thinking that. I mean, I grew out of wrestling in the '80s. You know what I mean? But what kind of drew me back, to be honest, was the Hurt Business thing and the rise of Bianca Belair, Street Profits. Those guys, those people. That's what kind of drew me back. I'm not a full-time watcher, but more because I was kind of entertained by it and shit. But I started to notice, the whole thing with Triple K. You know what I mean? Institutionalized racism, I got a huge problem with. It's not just in that whole entertainment industry. It's abroad. You find it in sports. You find it in the business world. You find it, everywhere. Intern.
Medical and education.
Right. And so I got a huge problem with institutionalized racism. And it's sad. I got a huge problem with some of our old people that are brainwashed by entertainment. You know what I mean? The whole thing with Bobby Lashley and all that stuff, just didn't sit right with me. I understand what you're saying with the whole melanated thing, but it still didn't sit right with me. You know,
All right.
and it's like I said, I mean, institutionalized racism is bullshit to me. You know what I mean? And
It's a never-ending cycle.
right, right. And I've been a victim of it myself. I'm still a victim of it. You know what I mean? As far as my personal, professional life, and just like I've been like outcasted because I'm different. You know what I mean? Because I see the world different. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's like, I hear what you're saying and everything, man. And it's like Triple K is playing a numbers game. You know what I mean? It's like people don't see what's going on. And, the whole Odyssey Jones thing. I heard he got released because they said he has a DV charge on the horizon. But it's like
First
innocent.
day.
It's like innocent to proven guilty and everything. I feel like no charges brought about. You weren't charged with anything. This guy was Caucasian. If this guy was Caucasian, would they were invested in him, would they do the same thing to that Caucasian? Is what I'm saying. That's
I
something to
want
think
to
about.
point out. I want to point out something too when it come down to Odyssey Jones. Just keep all this in context, and I'm gonna get more detailed on Odyssey Jones too. Um, I'm gonna get more detailed on him. Actually, we could talk about him next. I want to get back on the
Well,
women real
right.
quick, but
That's why I came up
I just
here.
want to say
That's the
this.
one
I
that
just
came.
want to say
That's
this.
why I came up here. Go ahead. Go. That's why I finished. That's why I came up here. I want to make a statement about that too. But go right ahead.
Right. I just want to say this, just to keep it in context. Just like I said, there were no foundational Black Americans or melanated people wrestling at WWE SummerSlam at all. And there was a surge of people noticing that Triple H is an anti-Black racist white supremacist leading up to this. There
Right.
was a big outcry about
Right.
this. And
Right.
what you started to notice after SummerSlam, the very next day, he instantly brought out Odyssey Jones. Odyssey Jones has been signed to Monday Night Raw for a year and a half. Now all of a sudden, out the blue, you bring him in and you pair him up with the New Day, right? Try to bring dissension toward them before this situation happened. Then you start to notice that you start seeing Triple H pander to us by putting the tag team titles back on Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. You start to see more activity from Carmelo Hayes that you didn't see from the months prior. You start to see Javon Evans all of a sudden end up on WWE Speed, and he brought out Adonis Asante, who he brought him up out the woodworks. You start to notice that he was out there taking pictures with Lil Baby and Stephen A. Smith, who is not only a raccoon, but he's not a foundational Black American. I don't know what he is, but he's some type of Caribbean. And you just start noticing they link Carmelo Hayes up with Bianca Belair and Naomi and Jade Cargill. And if you notice for a second, they separated Naomi from Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. And all of a sudden they brought them up. So this was all the only reason why they brought Odyssey Jones out at that second was for Triple H to pander to us to try to
Right.
get the heat taken
Right.
off of him.
Right. Right. And I'm going back to what you're saying. Like, I'm very concerned about Bianca Belair, standing, because from what I can see, like you said, people don't see it, but I do. Within the next year, Bianca Belair is going to be downgraded, I'm afraid, in place of Jade
Because
Cargill because they trying to build Jade.
they trying to build Jade through Bianca.
Right, right. And you just can't, Jade can't fill Bianca's shoes. No disrespect, but Jade can't fill Bianca's shoes, but WWE don't see that. All they see is dollar signs.
Eventually, she will. Unfortunately, eventually she will feel Bianca Belair's shoes. And see, this is my thing right here. In order to bring one, and this is what I've been saying over the last couple of weeks. In order to bring one Black American wrestler up, you have to bring one Black American wrestler down. And you cannot have multiple Black American wrestlers be successful at one given time.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't find that to be odd.
yeah. And do you think? What I'm scared of, what I'm afraid of is it's gonna be a whole Bianca Belair Sasha Banks situation. Beat Jade in a match in WWE at all. Is that possible?
I'm sorry, you kind of cut out a little bit. Can you repeat that?
What I was saying was the thing I'm thinking it's gonna be coming down to. I'm afraid is they're gonna book Jade so strong that Bianca's not gonna ever beat her in a match in WWE. Is that possible?
When it come down to winning and losing, I mean, throughout their feud, they may go. You gonna find that they may go back and forth. So Bianca may win the initial, or she may win the second one. But once their feud is completely done and over with, you're going to see a lot less production from Bianca Belair.
Right, right. That's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'm afraid of.
You
You
know,
know what I
and
mean?
like I said, you could see it because they, as I pointed out earlier, you could see that they have not even attempted to try to elevate Bianca Belair beyond what Bianca Belair is doing right now. She's still the exact same Bianca Belair, and I'm not tired of it because I see it for what it is. But I'm not tired of it. But there are people that are that eventually
I
they're
know.
going to listen to their fans
Right,
and find a way to rid themselves of Bianca Belair.
right, right. You know, I'm thinking like maybe, you know what I mean, like she may not be in WWE in a couple years because of that.
Now, I want you to notice something else: the lack of production from Black American men, because white folk constantly tell me that WWE is in the racist. Or can you do me a
Right.
favor? Is it possible for that TV to
Well,
come
well,
down?
wait a minute. I'm not going to stay up here too much longer. That's why I want to get to that too.
Okay, the lack of production from Black American men on these PLEs, and it's even worse because WWE condensed their PLEs down to 5 matches, so that further X's foundational Black Americans out, and the way that the standings of foundational Black American men is fucking not there at all. It's non-existent.
But from what I see, they kind of ushered Bobby Lashley out the door, and I'm thinking like after that, you're going to start to see more men of color leave WWE.
Oh yeah, Obi Femi gonna have the same problem that Odyssey Jones got. It's gonna be a domestic violence situation.
But what
Um,
I'm saying is, I hear one of the Street Profits contracts is up soon. So what do you think? You think one of them might bolt WWE because of this?
well, considering how much money AEW is paying, yes. I'm as afraid as we are for Bianca Belair. That's as afraid as I am for Angelo Dawkins getting lost in the shuffle. I could fucking see that. I've seen that since they first started teaming up together. And
Yeah,
again, just like I said about Bianca Belair, the WWE has done not a single attempt to try to elevate. Um,
but yeah. The funny thing I noticed is 2 years ago, Bianca was probably the most.
you cut out completely. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you had cut out
No,
completely.
I was saying before
There.
I leave, you know what I mean? Like, isn't it strange that Rhea Ripley is in Bianca Belair's position was 2 years ago? And they downgraded Bianca Belair while Rhea is like being, you know, being pushed, you know?
And it's crazy because Rhea Ripley ain't shit. I love wrestling, and she's okay, but there's nothing about this bitch that make me think of any of her matches. Is going to make me think of it 15, 20 years from now. There's nothing that stands out above around her right now. See, the thing about a lot of wrestling fans is they get so caught up in storyline, they don't look at the in ring work. Along with these great storylines, you still have to have great in ring work. And I'm not saying that she doesn't have good in ring work. Her shit is just not great for her to be in the standings and positions to be on the top of the WWE right now, representing the
Well,
women's division.
well,
Just to show you I'm not racist. Just to show you I'm not racist. I'll give you a prime example. Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is a great, phenomenal wrestler, and she deserved all of the status that she has. Not just because she's Ric Flair daughter, because she go out there and she busts her ass. And so, if they want her to get up to 16 championships to match her father, or 17 to beat him, I'm fine with that. I don't have an issue with that because at the end of the day, she can work. And Rhea Ripley, to me, can't work. And so,
Well, like I said,
with that being said, do you believe that they can elevate women? First of all, do you believe that? Okay, if everyone is looking forward toward Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, do you think that the WWE will invest as much time and effort to have them feud for at least a decade, like they did people like Lita and Trish Stratus and John Cena and Randy Orton? Let's say. You understand?
Probably not. But the thing about that is, I mean, I feel like, I mean, that's not good. That's gonna be like a year. That's gonna be like a year, 6 months.
Hmm.
I mean, and I feel like, don't get me wrong. I pull for black people all the time, but I feel like Jade is just not ready for that spotlight. Not in that position with Bianca, somebody that covered as
And you know
Bianca.
what? We shouldn't even be able be in a position to judge her like that. But the crazy part is, like, they don't even have no other black American women to back her up. You know what I'm saying? It's like we really have to rely on just one or two or five or seven people. You know, I was in this Facebook group and I asked these people, I said, who are the top seven? And this gonna lead into a question. Who are the top seven Black American men on the Raw roster, and who are the top five Black American women on the Raw roster? And then I went even further. I said, who are the top seven Black American men on the Raw roster, and who are the top five Black American women on the SmackDown roster? Now, obviously, is not that many people on any roster, right? Not even I believe NXT, right? But how do you believe, leading into this question, if it were to integrate to that point? And that's just bare minimum because the rosters are, I believe, are 75 apiece. That's just minimum. How do you think that the overall landscape of the product would look? Do you think that they would utilize at least majority of those people?
Probably not. And it's just on, judging on track record, probably not.
And if they were, how do you think white wrestling fans would take it?
Oh man, they come on with all kind of slurs and disrespectful, racial shit. I mean, I see it,
What
I see it, I see
do
it,
you
I
think
see
they
it.
would stop watching the product?
No, they just continually attack the person of color. I've seen it. I've seen people say Bianca's too ghetto. Bianca and her hair is annoying. Bianca is
Mhm.
can't wrestle. I've seen it all coming from these white peckerwoods.
Oh, wait till Lash Legend come out here. If they even let them get there.
Right.
Unfortunately. These are the things that we as black Americans have to face, and that's why we wrestle with
Hey,
racism.
you think
Eventually,
I don't think, to be honest, some of them people of color may not go up to that main thing, to that main show. Somebody like Jakara Jackson, I don't see her going up to the main.
no, and that's another thing. Do you think that they hinder people training somehow to make them not get better? Let's say certain people that they may not necessarily care for. Here, let's keep putting her around. We know that she's fucking trash. We're gonna make her look as trash as possible so we can release the bitch and
Right,
people wouldn't have to bitch about it. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Because see, it's crazy to me because generally when I ask white folk
yeah,
about the black American success, they gotta reach all the way down to
right,
NXT.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's multiple reasons as to why we wrestle with racism, and the system of white supremacy and anti-blackness is real, and it's a smaller space.
Hey, this is
I
why.
take it the rest.
This is why I don't watch that bullshit no more. I'm not even invested in it no more because I know where it's headed. I grew out of it.
Yeah.
I grew out of it in the late '80s. Like I said, recently
Mhm.
during the pandemic, I kind of started watching back to it because I was attracted to the black talent over there. Most, the
And
hurt
it kind of
business.
amplified at that time, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah, the hurt business. You had Bianca, you had Street Profits. All of those people were over now.
You keep breaking out, but I got you. And generally around that time, and that was around the time that a lot of these what they would call social issues were going on back to back to back to back.
Yeah,
Um, and so you could tell that they did it to pander. Plus, they had the time to pander. They didn't even have an audience.
right, right,
So yeah, let's throw these niggers out here, and
right,
get
right,
these niggers to relax and watch our product and all
right,
this other different shit. That's how they were
right,
able to make their money.
right.
And
And now
that's
for
why I
you,
don't like whites.
and it served a purpose under these white supremacist Peckerwoods, and now 4 years later, a lot of them are out of the company or they a sideshow or they about to get their position taken away. Most notably Bianca in the next year or so. I'm afraid. Yeah, my over
And it's crazy because I'm a Black American
situation.
wrestling fan.
Well, I don't even care no more, man. The only reason I watched it
No,
is
no, I'm saying like I outgrew it myself, but it's something about it that still keep having me check back on it. And so it got to the point to where because to me the product is still trash, and that's talking about Triple H's booking. It actually is trash. For some reason they're hot. I was rolling with it, like not even looking at the ethnic aspect of it. It was just entertaining for me to watch leading up to WrestleMania, but after that, it fell off tremendously. So I just keep tabs on my Black American wrestlers, and that's what I got to keep it going back. But here's the thing, and you made a comment on YouTube a couple of times about boycotting the WWE, and I'm all for it as well. You got to know that my ultimate goal is complete. That's one way that we're going to end our situation that we have overall is a 100% complete utter separation. Unfortunately, in this time right now, especially with wrestling with racism, in the professional wrestling field, as to where you got a lot of black people who may be nerds or not necessarily accepted socially by their black American peers or family members or whatnot. So they find solace in whatever they do. So they don't look at it, they don't feel this aspect that we feel because that's their comfort zone. And I want to restore our Black American wrestling fans because there is a
well,
problem.
I mean, like I said, I grew out of the product. I only got back to the product because certain people. But my cause is bigger than entertainment, man. Like
Yeah,
institutionalized
no,
racism.
no, no.
My institutionalized racism needs
Yes, you cut out again. Keep
institutionalized racism needs to be eradicated. It needs to be eradicated. You know what I mean?
across the board.
The wrestling. Like I said, I grew out of it. I'm not a craze fan like I was when I was a kid in the late '80s. You know what I mean? Because I'm in the real world. You know what I mean? I'm not, knocking you for what you're doing, but this is, my
Right.
purpose. My purpose is to eradicate institutionalized racism all across the board. You know,
No, I'm with you 100%,
you
and
know.
that's why I followed your channel too. I checked out a lot of your content, and trust me, I'm there with you. And if you notice, I integrate a lot. The reason I do wrestling with racism is a smaller space for white supremacy. It
Yeah,
is a smaller space.
right, right,
And trust me, I fight on all fronts. I fight on all fronts, and this is just a particular thing that I do. Wrestling with racism is not for white folk, it's for us.
Yeah.
And throughout me, I'm exploiting, I'm doing it different. I'm exploiting institutional racism, global institutional racism, and specifically in America through professional wrestling. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it is very much so parallel. But I do wish to fight on all fronts. And although wrestling with racism is what I am doing publicly, privately, I'm fighting in my community and specifically my state. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
As we are being flooded with immigrants, I am facing that problem right now,
Mm-hmm.
specifically.
Mm-hmm.
you know. But I don't want you to think this is relegated just to wrestling. It's not. We always could discuss and come up with try to develop solutions, at least put it out there of eradicating institutional racism. That's on all fronts.
Yeah.
And actually,
Yeah. That's the main thing for me. That's the main thing for me.
actually, if you could follow the Negro Black Knights Heritage Club as well. Um, like I said, he's not necessarily a wrestling fan, but obviously, I don't just think about it on the wrestling aspect. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is
I hear
just
you.
this particular field here, you know. But I do appreciate you, and I do want to keep in contact. You did follow on Facebook, and I do want to make this clear to everybody. I got the Facebook group going. It's specifically for foundational Black Americans, and it's specifically for foundational Black American wrestling fans that feel that's non-coons that feel that there is injustice and that there's a problem that needs to be solved quickly. But you didn't answer the questions, or so there's a lot of people that didn't answer the questions, and I had to reject them. I know who these people are, but the reasons why I ask these questions is for statistical purposes, and that's why I have them ask the questions. So if you could just, I think I sent you the link again. If you could try to go back up there and do it again, I'll let you in. But I just need you to answer the questions. And I do appreciate your time up here as well. And it is valued. And like I said, like I said, foundational Black Americans are, it seems, getting axed out of the WWE. And that's what should be a major concern. Another person was telling me that you got all these people bringing up the successes of Obafemi and Jade Cargill and Kofi Kingston, who was Ghanaian, and Big E, who was Jamaican and Monstantarian. And Big E is a writer as well. I've seen him speak up on multiple issues that directly affected Black Americans, and he do give time and money directly to Black American causes, I would say. And I know that for a fact. And he's a writer, and he's never shown disrespect to our lineage, and he's never shown disrespect to our culture, although he does cosplay on our culture. And you've never seen him come out and say that he's Jamaican or a Monstantarian. He hasn't necessarily disrespected us. But at the end of the day, he still doesn't represent us. And y'all want us to take these people's successes and have us be satisfied with it, and it's not going to happen. And so I was talking to this lady on some platform, and she was trying to mention all of these non-FBAs, and it's cool, don't get me wrong, and I'm happy for their success. I don't want anything different, but I would like our successes to be right along with theirs or more or greater. You know what I'm saying? Equal or greater. And it's just not there. And I told her, I said, well, ma'am, and she trying to tell me that white folk doesn't delineate. White folk don't look at their immigrant whites or whatever and make a difference. Yes, they do. They just pick and choose when they do it. They just pick and choose when they do it. So, like Barry, when you was telling me that you don't see them doing it with white folk and all this other, what they did with Odyssey Jones, if it was Odyssey Jones. Well, they did. They did it with this guy named James Wentz or some shit like that. His last name is Wentz. And I believe he's French or Polish or some shit like that. And then they did it with another wrestler named Enzo Amore, and he's Italian. So yes, they know when to delineate. And Barry, you are correct. They haven't done it to a white, a Caucasian. They haven't. White folk, I'm gonna delineate your asses too, just so there wouldn't be any misunderstandings. So I'm not about to take these people's successes and continue with the tax on ours, and ours are dwindling. Look at the WWE roster on Raw. The only foundational Black American wrestlers that are representing us is Xavier Woods and R-Truth. There are no foundational Black American men on Raw besides those two. And there aren't any foundational Black American women out there either. Same goes for SmackDown. SmackDown, the only foundational Black American women that are representing us is Bianca Belair and B-Fab whenever they choose to use her, and she's not wrestling. And I want to go back on these PLEs because right now, what you notice with the list that I named, Bianca Belair dominated in all of these pay-per-views. And what I mean by dominated is she showed up, but most of these PLEs she lost, and she was our only representation for female foundational Black American women. She lost most of these. So when y'all bring up these one, two, three, four, five people, that's not solving the problem. The problem is not the crumbs of success that you give us and want us to hold on to for a lifetime. Problem is, you feel like you could just utilize us to clear your name, to say that you weren't racist, anti-black, white supremacists. So, with that being said, Triple H, what I would prefer for you to do is admit that the WWE wrestlers isn't going to be an integral part of the WWE structure moving forward and let us go, or you can integrate us properly into your organization in every aspect. See, here's another problem that we have. White folk constantly talk about um, championships as if that's the problem. No, Rasslin with Racism take it across the board. There is only one melanated referee representing us. I forget, and I love her, Daphne LaShawn. I don't know if she was Jamaican or Haitian. She was some type of Caribbean, but she's the only one representing dark skinned people in the referees department. There are no other dark skinned people representing us at all in that department. And on the main rosters, we don't have any foundational Black American commentators or melanated commentators whatsoever. Barry, what I was going to say about you boycotting, and yes, boycotting is good, but it's not necessarily effective because they don't. Apparently, we only have 13%, so we even a less percentage when it come down to their demographics. And so I don't even understand why they necessarily really trying to pander to us, but they are. And my thing is, yes, boycott, but still take it to them directly. If you get an opportunity to get into these press conferences, which I'm working on, getting some type of figure out a way to get into some type of press and get in there and ask this man somehow, some way, talk to these wrestlers, ram it down their throat. A lot of them keep them DMs open, and a lot of them do respond. And some things about these people is they admit that they can't speak up on anything. I'm not going to put them out there, but they admit that there is a problem. They don't necessarily say it's a racial problem, but they do notice that there is a problem. And I understand that. When you look at these people's salaries and you look at the fact that Bianca Belair is making $500,000 per year for the WWE, not including merchandise and then bonuses and whatever other incentives that they have, these are things that Black American men are not getting because they are not put in a position. And these are things that Black American women are not getting below Bianca Belair and Naomi because they are not there. So salaries is a big thing. And they make these wrestlers look like trash so that they cannot progress them into making further progression in the business to make the top dollar, the main event money, as they would say. And I was proud to see Swerve Strickland in that setting at AEW All In. And Swerve has shown raccoon abilities. And it's fucked up that I have to feel proud for him and he doesn't necessarily be in our favor. It's just the visual of seeing a man with the championship in that setting, in that type of setting. But then you look below him, and no foundational Black American, male or female, non mixed, foundational Black American male progressed in AEW since Swerve Strickland acquired the AEW championship. So white folk can sit up here and tell me, oh, Swerve Strickland was the AEW champion, but it did not solve AEW's racial problem. And one thing about white folk is they sit up here and think that one thing cancels the other. No, the WWE is just as racist as AEW. AEW is just as much as a racist organization, anti-white, anti-black racist organization as the WWE. There is no difference. So just because I put more focus on Triple H at the moment, because he got his shit going back to back to back to back to back, we're still not going to forget that there is not foundational Black Americans wrestling consistently in prominent positions in AEW whatsoever below Swerve Strickland. There is a problem that need to be solved. So white folk tell me that Swerve Strickland got a contract renewal and he's one of the top paid people in AEW. And you got people making anywhere from $5 million to $10 million throughout their duration, and he signed for an extra 3 years, going into 2028 or 2029, 3 or 4 years. He resigned with them for about that time. I think it expired in 29, and but they never released how much. And I'm still curious as to what it is because I want to know how close is it to his actual white counterparts. But why am I supposed to take that and be happy about it? And I am happy that a Black American man is able to get that type of uh, money. But maybe he did become a coon and just finessed them. I don't know. You got to be very tight-lipped in this fucking business. So what if that's the case, bro? Get your bag. But at the end of the day, we are still at the bottom, and I don't believe that he's going to get that championship back. I don't think he's going to become a genuine contender again. So where does that leave foundational Black Americans in AEW? Don't try to sit up here and cancel that out. Another thing about Swerve Strickland major contract, it was a report that came out that WWE was highly upset and think that a high contract like that fucks the game up. But down here they gotta up everybody's salary, which they do. You look at Kevin Owens, who is making over $1 million a year. You look at Randy Orton, who is making over $5 million a year. You look at fucking Roman Reigns, who is making a certain amount of millions over a year. You look at Charlotte Flair, same thing. And it's a couple of other whites that are making over $1 million a year. But then again, Bianca Belair is the highest paid Black American, and she's at 500,000. They are eating, and she's been on top of the women's division. She's been the face of the women's division before Rhea Ripley for the last 4 years. Not even a reconsideration of a renegotiation. So Barry, your concerns are valid. This is a problem across the board. And believe me, I will want you all to stop settling for crumbs, and I will want you all to stop wanting these people to actually be in these organizations. But since you want them to be in these organizations, I would want them to be presented as equal as any other ethnic group. I'm not even concerned about other ethnic groups. They have their own promotions in their own countries. But when you speak of Black Americans, again, we are dwindling, and eventually we will be nowhere to be found. Odyssey Jones, I gotta move on real quick. I'm about to hurry up and try to wrap this up real quick. I am gonna let Negro up if you still want to come up. And Bryce, if you have anything, I appreciate you coming through. If you have anything that you want to say on the wrestling aspect, you may join and say anything that you want. Um, Odyssey Jones, I lost. I got so far off of this shit, I don't even feel like looking for it. But they're saying that apparently somebody has been stalking Odyssey Jones' page. Pretty much, it seems as if they were stalking his page, saying how much of an abuser Odyssey Jones is. But no one is saying that Odyssey Jones has been charged with domestic abuse. They're only saying that these are allegations. They're not saying that he's been charged. And obviously, he hasn't been um, convicted of any crime because he hasn't even been charged. But he is out of a job. And this has been for months that whoever this person is, if it's real or not, whoever this person is, they have been doing it for months. And I got to look at this with a side eye because, like I said, they never really wanted Odyssey Jones out there in the first place. And the minute that they put him out there, now all of a sudden they want to get rid of him. I wonder if they're going off of these texts that he's been receiving instead of actual jury saying that he's guilty. That's crazy as hell. And so, yes, it is based off of the color of his skin. The roster is too damn black with three black people that we have on there, especially when they tend to one that elevate Trick Williams and all this other different shit. They're maneuvering these people out of the WWE. If you don't see this, you are a damn fool. My bad, bro, man. Welcome. Welcome to Wrestling with Racism. I appreciate you for sticking through it. I couldn't imagine listening to some shit that I didn't know what the fuck it was. But again, the Negro, you could I'm talking to you. You could unmute if you're ready. But
Great.
uh,
I didn't even know I popped up on stage. First things first. Great analogies. Great commentary on the wrestling and entertainment industry. Great insight. I fell out of it when I was like, I'm gonna say 13, 14 years old because I saw the racism for what it was. My father was really into it because he was into writing. So he saw a little bit of Shakespeare. He saw a little bit of various different writings that was carried in the carried out in the entertainment aspect. And that's what gravitated to him to watch it when I was younger. And that's how I was introduced to WWE and all that other stuff. Like my favorite one of my favorite wrestlers was the little guy. I can't think of his name. I like the Chris Benoit guy. I like the Canadian Crippler. I like
yeah, he was shit.
the little short guy with the mask on. Ray Mysterio, I think. The one who does
Yeah,
it.
oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So like
yeah.
yeah. So those are the some of the guys I did like I loved Booker T in that kick. You know, Booker T was
Mm-hmm.
laying down hammers. I like Big Henry. So I'm very familiar with the industry. I'm not as much now because I don't have children and stuff like that, and I got other things I'm doing. But I do
Right.
appreciate the insight, the business aspect of it. Um, Everybody's caught on the entertainment of it, but they don't look at the history. There needs to be just in sports and entertainment. There needs to be a detailed historical courses to educate the
Yes.
racism in sports and entertainment, and it should be mainstream across the board. It should be almost as a college course or a high, I would say collegiate course if you're doing business work and stuff of that nature.
When to expand on that really quickly, when you look at the fact that if you look at the NBA, which is predominantly, it appears predominantly black, but when you look at the organizational structure of it, is white and white Jew, quote Jew-ish folk, that are making the most money out of this. They're the ones that's producing the most money out of this. You don't have many owners within the NBA organization. The same with the NFL. You don't have owners, and nobody actually even thrive to be owners. And I think I mentioned this before. LeBron James is a billionaire. He could be put in a position of power, and I don't think that he would even try to develop a league to at least try to compete with the NBA out of fear of being killed. You understand what I'm saying? That's why it is important to have those courses so that these sports and entertainers could know directly which ways how they could figure out ways to move swiftly beyond the system of white supremacy. You understand what I'm saying? You come mute. This
Yeah,
is us.
yeah. The reason why I say that is because it's embarrassing when you have black athletes who don't know their history and how it relates to them in a racial aspect, right? They think that when
Hmm.
they're playing sports and or entertaining the public, that they're not involved to racism, they're not involved to ethnic bigotry, right? And
Right.
and that's kind of my problem with these clowns. And when you're in college, they should be educating these minds to inform them about the um the history. Like
Well,
for example,
they taking they call it critical race theory, but essentially they're removing all forms of Black history out of K through 12.
yeah, yeah, and the thing that I want to like touch upon is like the reason why I'm having this angle about this is because there's all sports is getting gentrified. It's not just wrestling.
Oh
The
yeah,
basketball, NFL, all these, and
Luka Doncic, all these
yeah,
these international whites are starting to make a name
yes,
in American sports,
yes, and on top of that, you
and it's happening in pro wrestling as well.
but you also got Black American people who are practicing, I would say, the ideals of Pan Africanism, trying to help out the brothers and sisters in Africa, but not helping the
Confused.
people in building up a base in America. All right.
Right.
And you'll see that with the NBA specifically. And now it's going to happen. They're going to be replaced. Because
Mm.
all that kneeling and all that stuff that like I'm for it, but the white establishment is not, and therefore they will put somebody that look like you that's not like
It
you.
affected it affected the NBA. I'm sorry, that kneeling and it financially affected the NFL.
Yes,
It financially affected the NFL. It affected their ratings and it affected their ticket sales.
yes, it did, and that's the reason why. And that was something that, like, I have a business degree background, so like I'm more or less looking at it from a business perspective, and I have a minor in sociology, so I'm looking at it from the social aspect, like the
Hmm.
haves and the have-nots and things of that nature. Them exploiting our culture, our people, and while other groups are allowed to have a niche market in that form of entertainment. You mentioned
Hmm.
that they have a whole country backing them. Boxing's like that. A couple other sports are like that as well. That's unique like that. And
Oh, like the FIBA organization altogether.
yes,
You know, Ice Cube has been trying to get his league up and running, and it is running in America, but he trying to expand and just do something different. And he challenged people from the Olympics, even Americans or the people, other countries. Hey, come play us. Come play us. Not play for us, play us. And FIBA outright rejected it. And I don't know the specifics, but the NBA apparently is giving Ice Cube hell left and right.
oh, they've been sabotaging that black man since
Yeah.
day one. And it was from the NBA when they did the 3-on-3. They tried to block him on that, and then he started to do other ventures. And then you also got people in our own community that sabotaging the brother too.
Exactly.
That's coon bugging it up, man, and that's ridiculous. We're so as men, we're supposed to be providers. We're supposed to be institutional builders for our community, and it upsets me when people don't see the vision for our community, don't um see the value of having black or Negro institutions. Uh,
It's a broken spirit. You
yeah,
got to remember, we're dealing with a broken people now, unfortunately.
yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, so I appreciate. I always like your spaces. It's very interesting. About when it comes to wrestling, it kind of reminds me of my childhood and with some of the things I might have missed, or might have overlooked, because I
Well,
didn't.
I mean, that's what I was telling my brother right there. Like, it's all French. And like I said, it's specifically professional wrestling is a smaller space, though. And if we can make moves for, because, hey, let's face it, a lot of our Black American children are drawn more to entertainment. Role models for some reason is entertainers. You understand what I'm saying? And at least in that aspect, we should be able to change that. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's nobody out here stumping for us on this level in this particular field. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. And I don't even think Booker T is a Black American. I thought he was Jamaican or something. But I
No, no, he's a black. No, no,
oh,
he
he's
he,
black.
he really. Yeah, I've been familiar with Booker T background
See,
for a while.
okay, I didn't know. Give or
He's
take.
out of Houston, Texas. What it is it's the dreads that probably do it for you. Thing about Booker T is Booker been growing them dreads since '01, and Black Americans had a surge of growing dreads over the last decade. Black Americans was not fucking rocking dreads, but he was one of the first Black Americans I've seen walk around with dreads. But in actuality, he is a Black American.
All right, thank you for the correction. But he was
He had a gimmick to where he had a character to where he kind of changed his accent up, but that was some type of king character. Other than that, no, he's from Houston, Texas.
all right. That's good. And wasn't he a football player too?
Nope,
He
he
wasn't.
was a prisoner.
He was a
He was a prisoner. He
well.
went to prison.
Well,
Yep,
I appreciate that, brother. He was one of he was him and his tag team partner made my childhood because I
that's
was
his
rooting.
brother.
Yeah, I was rooting for the black people.
Hmm.
When I was younger, and I always got upset when they lost or they lose or whatnot. And that was some of the reasons why I fell out of wrestling. Because like I'm gonna like any video game, anything that's form of entertainment. I wanted to be and feel be like the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like especially when you're young, and it's very impressionable. It's very hard for a child to digest and to be a white character and play in the mindset of a white character. Nor we shouldn't. That's that's a very polluted imagination and very
And that's
dangerous
where
imagination.
I'm constantly combating whites because they don't understand that part because they are so well represented. So when it come down to us wanting to see greater representation from our people, and they see these couple of black people and think that we're supposed to be content and satisfied with it, no, it's not. We're not being represented in a way that you guys are. So you really don't understand our complaint. You don't understand our sorrow. Our sorrow. They don't understand.
So again, brother, I really appreciate you when you have these type of spaces when wrestling. Always tag me. I'm very interested. Um, it kind of brings back my childhood. Some of the things that was overlooked, some of the things that I might have been missing. So
Mhm.
I appreciate that. Keep doing your thing.
Well, that's why I appreciate you, and I do want you up here because, delineation is a foreign word to a lot of people, and it's a foreign it's a foreign thing to a lot of people, and it's important. Like I said, in the aspect of professional wrestling, like we were saying, our concern. What you have is a foundational Black American who has been on top of the WWE. It's a Black American woman that's been on top of the WWE for the past 5 years. And that's something that we have never seen from a Black American woman. And then you have a Jamaican woman coming behind her and she's gaining traction. And we can just see a shift and the Black American woman declining as the Jamaican woman is rising as to where the Black American woman is going to be X out. And what people see is her dark skin, and they see how she act, and they believe that it's her and it's representation for us. And like I said, I have nothing against her. I love her as if she were a Black American woman herself. But at the end of the day, she's not. You are great at explaining the importance of delineation and why we should delineate and why these people shouldn't be the ones that represent us. There's cool Jamaicans out there, but there's more Jamaicans that don't fuck with us than not. You know what I'm saying?
And I don't think people understand the racist origins of wrestling from the cotton fields, from the slave masters, the no arm hold bars matches that they had
Mhm.
with that was entertainment for the slave master. It's not a shot or a
For
diss.
betting.
And
Yeah.
understanding the history of these sports, the origins of these sports, is very critical when we talking about entertainment. And I feel like these courses, collegiate wise, do not touch upon that at all. It's more or less like the math problems, how to shuffle papers, but they're not really talking about linking the history and linking the ethnicity and the racial components to it to where it is today. Why is this
Hmm.
institution is perpetuating this type of form of structural racism, you know, ethnic biasness against a specific group of people. So like I really go
Hopefully,
into those type of topics and stuff like that.
hopefully this year, not to cut you off, but hopefully this year specifically is opening, at least this year specifically, is opening people's eyes between obviously the work that Tariq Nasheed has put out over the last couple of years, specifically in the delineation factor. The thing between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, they not like us. And this. thing with Kamala Harris. Hopefully, these are opening people's eyes as you know the importance of delineation and why we should delineate. You may continue because you was getting into it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, again, I really do appreciate these sports, these entertainment spaces in regards to wrestling, because wrestling should be considered as a sport. It's not entertaining to a certain extent. Um, you have to be physically fit. You have to be smart. You have to be crafty. There's a lot of other things that's tied to it that I think it gets overlooked, and it gets embraced by white folks, but overlooked when black folks master it. So it's just,
Yeah.
and the other thing I want to talk about is how there's been a concerted effort, just in entertainment across the board, is to put more women, black women, in the masculine role, and put more
Mhm.
men in the feminine role. And that stems
Yes.
from slavery, right? And I
Hmm.
find it very distasteful that, and it's not a shot to the sister, because I really appreciate the sister. It's more or less how the industry is using her skills, using her
Hmm.
unique abilities, to undermine the authority of black men. So
Yep.
like,
Yep.
when
There
you,
you it is.
yeah, because when you look at wrestling, there is a male and a female component. There is a relationship component, and you don't see that. I want to see a black power couple in a wrestling. I would pay to see that shit. I'll watch it with
Uh,
my kids. That's something that I would see.
Here's the thing about that. You may not be familiar with this. Remember, just like you said, they're using Bianca. They use Bianca Belair specifically, and she is presented as super high masculine. I'm not saying that she's a masculine woman. She's a feminine woman, but they're presenting her as a I don't know why my hand is up, but as a masculine woman. But she does have a husband in the WWE. He's with the Montez Ford that I was mentioning, and they're foundational Black American. Actually, they got a reality show on Hulu or something. And they can use them for things like that, promotional wise, for things like that. But her husband is not being utilized at all, and he's one of the most talented people. White folk recognize this. He's one of the most talented people in the WWE today, yet he's not being presented on WWE television. And you have a lot of people out here today that's calling Montez Ford Miss Belair, Mr. Belair,
And
because his wife is much more successful than him.
that's the problem, and they did that on purpose, man. And
Yeah,
the
sir.
thing is that I want to see them in the, like, Vince McMahon has his women that he was effing with. You know what I mean? You had other
Hmm.
white dudes. They had their women that they came when they win their championships and etc. and all that stuff.
Hmm.
It's that whole bravado that I like seeing. It's a antithesis of masculinity.
Triple H is married to Triple H, who is the head. Vince McMahon has no ties with the WWE right now, but Triple H, who is at least in the creative aspect of the WWE and has a major role in the structure of it, is married to Vince McMahon's daughter. You know what I'm saying?
Wasn't he with
And he's
China at one
successful
time?
across the board.
Who was
He
with?
was with China. Actually, he was with China, and he was messing with Stephanie. It destroyed China's career. It destroyed China's life actually with how that relationship moved forward, moved on.
Wow, I didn't like. Wow, dang,
Yeah,
man. That's ruthless,
yeah. So
brother.
just to show you the power of relationships, there are power couples.
Now,
You know what
black
I'm
one.
saying?
That's what I want to emphasize. I want to see a black American, because I always saw white folks. You might have a Latino person that was like a no name that had this little fly check or whatever, but I didn't see the antithesis of a black American until I saw Booker T. And Booker T, like, sometimes he had like a little bit of everybody, but he
Mhm.
had a black chick every once in a blue moon.
Oh no, that's his wife. That was always his black American wife,
See, I got.
and
See,
they've been married
see, the
over
thing
20
is, they
years.
they
And
they present all these black characters, or these black, not characters. I don't want to say characters. These black people who played the roles of these individuals as as single.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing that. So like I'm as a person who like I'm not a regular fan or watcher of that nature. So I'm thinking that all these people are single to a certain or 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 they're not taken or chosen, if you get what I mean. And that needs to
Mm-hmm.
be expressed too, because it's expressed on the white side of the entertainment industry, and it's respected
And
and it's encouraged.
you also have to remember that this is something that is geared more, supposedly geared more towards children. At different times, they gear it towards adults. They're getting ready to go to Netflix. They're going to start being more adult content. But um, at the end of the day, it's still geared more towards children. And there's so much white supremacist, white supremacy being pumped through that screen. And you got to remember, children are more impressionable between the ages 0 and 7. So they're seeing white folk just dominate Black American people, men and women. And you mentally just going to make you grow up to believe that they're not capable of defeating their white counterparts. You understand what I'm saying? You wouldn't even look at them as these superheroes as you look at at these white counterparts. There's never been a black Hulk Hogan. There's never been a black Stone Cold Steve Austin and none of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. So again, brother, I wanted to say thank you for taking the time out. Thank you uh, for giving a spin or very interesting perspective and on the WWE wrestling entertainment from a cultural perspective, business perspective. Analysis is real deep, brother. Like I commend you on the scholarship on this and
I appreciate it.
be able to link this where it's where anybody can interpret and be able to build upon the conversation to uplift our people. I think that that's very, very important. And I really think that we should boycott the WWE. Worse yet, I really think that there needs to be a class action lawsuit saying if we don't
Yes,
have the
sir.
same access as these white folks, then they need
Mm-hmm.
to shut it down to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have our own access to our own marketing, or what they call ethnic and niche marketing, because all these other because we could be able to cultivate and build up our own fan base to the point that we can break away and create our own shit, or
Now
be, our own
I want to ask you
circuit.
about this because you brought up. I want to ask you this because you brought up something interesting, and don't worry about that. Rasslin with racism. So this is going to explode bigger than you thought. You just said something very interesting. Just hold that to the side. I don't want you to think that I dismissed that completely, but you did say something interesting about class action lawsuit. So once again, how does delineation hold up in court? Because what if they say, hey, we got all of these black people, but they're immigrants? You understand what I'm saying? Because they do have a lot of Nigeria. They have a couple of Nigerians. They got a Ghanaian. They got a couple of Jamaicans. They got a couple of Monstarians. And they got a Colombian and stuff like that. What if? How do you think that will hold up in court?
Preferential hiring practices. That's what I would start building. It's no different from like I'll give an example, right? This is why I have a problem with like D9s and all these other clubs that are against black folks, right? In the
Hmm.
professional setting, it's only a certain amount of these six-figure jobs that goes around to the black American community. The bulk of them goes to the D9 people. It does not go to the ranking
Hmm.
file average black guy like myself who went to college, who crossed the stage. I didn't cross the pledge. You dig what I'm saying?
Got
So we get boxed out of these type of positions because they want a specific type of Negro, preferential hiring practices to promote a certain mindset, to promote a
you.
certain concept. No different from the NFL, the NBA, when they do their background checks on the athletes that they want. It's the reason
Right.
why you have the athletes picking up a Becky every time because they know what's in this brother's background. It doesn't matter
Hmm.
about the talent. It's more or less what are they going to do to perpetuate and push the brand. You get what I'm? And this
Right.
is from a marketing. Like all I'm talking about is strictly marketing. that I'm
Gotcha.
talking
No,
about here.
yeah.
So that's why I said that this should be challenged. They're making a concerted effort not to uplift and build and sabotage Black American careers in the WWE. And they're not getting the same type of access to promotion, marketing, equal pay.
Hmm.
Even I'll probably even go so far to say is even medical if they get hurt. I don't think that they have access to the same doctors and the
No,
different
right. Yes.
it could get
Well,
really.
but you know what? And even if they did, they probably wouldn't get the same care.
Yes, and then they won't allow them to bring their doctors or build up their professionals to cater
Hmm.
to our needs, you know. So like it's a whole mess. When I, and this is some of the reasons why at an early age I stopped effing with the WWE because I look at it more from a business perspective because I'm a business major. That was my major, and then my now and my associates is in investigation. So I'm gonna like dig in the weeds and ask the right questions because I see you harming my community. I see you
Right.
misrepresenting my community. So,
Hmm.
so those are just some of the things that do need to be addressed, and it does need to be boycott. I'm like, I like
Now,
entertainment.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Yes, 100% with the boycott, but along with the boycott must come the work. You cannot sit on your hands and not bring it to their face as the reason as to why you are boycotting.
Well, well,
It's a difference.
we should be building our own version of the WWE, the Negro the Negro
Yes. No.
Wrestling Association. I don't know, like something of that sort. Like we need to have our own.
I'm keeping things on the hush. I'm with you. I'm a DM you, so just kind of keep going.
Okay, yeah. So
I got to 100%. Trust me.
If I could double
yes.
dutch in here, if I could double dutch in here, because I want to,
Mhm.
respectfully, I want to correct my brother Negro on something. He's 99% correct on his cook, but there is one actual factual thing that I want to correct him on, and this is just an older brother just passing, just passing on what he has seen, observed, and learned. Um, it's absolutely wrong that that these coaches, when they recruit for football, that they look into what their habits are. That's absolutely wrong. They groom them from Pee Wee. The entire
Uh,
the entire Pee Wee all the way through high school and then up into college. Um, the money flows to all the way down to these Pee Wee coaches, and kids are groomed in the lifestyle. It's 90% training, but it's 10% lifestyle.
right.
And so I had to just pass that on to you, brother. By the time they get to high school, they're mostly already gone. So yeah, um, you know, and the thing is like what I observed was actually a confirmation of what I was told, and I'm going to tell you who told me this. When I was in my younger dating days, before the days of Tinder, but it was, an internet meet. Um, I was dating the sister of someone that played on the Raiders. His name was Sam Williamson, and she was his stepsister, but she was, because she was, his sister through marriage. Um, their parents were married, and she was telling me about the palm test that they do, and she took me to one of her brother's parties, and every woman in there was a blonde white chick. Um, these football players from college on up are only shown blonde women. and
Yeah.
and she was telling me like she can't even date a football because she's black. So she and her brother plays football, and she can't meet a nigga that's interested in her. So yeah,
Can I ask you this real quick
go
too
ahead,
as
go
well?
ahead.
Do you believe that maybe it's partially, because wherever, obviously, most of people that comes into a different class of income do not necessarily live in black neighborhoods or even close,
No, that's not
especially if they go out and,
that's
I'm sorry, go ahead.
that's not it at all.
No,
They
it's a
have
mindset that's cultivated, brother.
it's a mindset that's cultivated, but more than that, it's a ploy and a you see what happened with Kobe, right? That's the play.
Hmm.
Okay, because they know that out of all the sports, the people that die the youngest are football players because they get beat up the hardest and they lose their minds from getting beat up. And so they power of attorney their shit to their white wives who then circulate that money right back into their community. So you're seeing these contracts now where look at Brandon Ayuk. He's probably looking at a what, probably like a $200 million contract coming up, right? Like probably a $250 million with endorsements and all that kind of shit. By the time he's done playing football, he will be a billionaire, and that $1 billion will funnel right back into the white community because that's what they worship. That's what they were taught to worship from the time they played pee wee, right? 8, 10 years old. And the confirmation that came from me is my wife just last year started coaching the little, the little cheerleader girls, which are, on in those pee wee games. And so I'm seeing the coaches from prestigious schools come in and watch these little kids play, and they're like, oh, okay, that one has talent there, that one, oh, okay, I see his mother's not able to get around as well, maybe this car right here to consider going in this direction. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are groomed early from 8 and 10 and 12 years old. There's this one kid, man, like, you can see like his he stands above, head and shoulders above the rest. And like they like we'll leave, and then the older kids will come in, and you'll hear people talking about his name. Oh, Josiah Hunter, Josiah Hunter. Like they I'm telling you, like, early they already know which players they want, which ones they want to groom, and where they want them to go to school, which frats they want them to join. All that shit is programmed into them early.
Yes, sir.
That's the craziest thing about it, and that's this is why you got only like one or two brothers that's taking a knee in the NFL when it should be the
Hmm.
whole damn line. All right, and the craziest thing is it's almost like a form of mental slavery. You have the strongest, sometimes even more savvier type of individuals, and they're not willing to operate in the empowerment of their own people, which shows again the disconnect where what's entertainment and the entertainment industry and sports industry not connecting the historical connection to it. And I shame these institutions. I really do. Like it should be
The
almost
institute, yeah, yeah.
it should
Go
be
ahead.
almost mandatory that this is you can't go onto the effing football field unless you take this course. You can't swing at the golf club like Tiger Woods until you take the course, and it needs to be tailored specifically to the sport that they're engaging with. That's just my take on it. Like from like debate, and the reason why, and I didn't touch off the reason why I was going this route is because when I was looking at the Negro leagues, right? You got this black guy who said that I'm a baseball historian, and he said I'm a Negro special or Negro baseball Negro history league specialist, basically downplaying our history, which is so much larger than the um the Major League Baseball Association. Then on top of that, this man sold, basically gave the stats to the to the Major League Baseball because they didn't see the value of how much that information is. The diets, the training, the list goes on and on and on. So like This is why I'm gonna probably design a course when I get a chance on that, just because I'm tired of these athletes being inept when it comes to our history and our culture, and they don't know how to put it into the framework of sports so they can have the
And you know
conversation.
what? It's not even just the athletes. It's Black Americans. Period. It's crazy because it's a dying breed. Our grandparents, our great grandparents, they are gone. They're going, and so now you come into a new group of people. Now white supremacists are finally starting to get to the people. They're finally starting to get to the people that they want. Erase everything that you think that you know about history, and this is what the fuck it is, and we can reign even further. It's not just these athletes, it's your average Black American child. They're not going to have this understanding, and as long as they got a white that's going to smile in their face and be their friend or employ them or do whatever, they're never going to have an understanding. Once our generation is ultimately gone, within the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years, it could be the actual destruction of Black Americans. Unfortunately, we got to stop. Listen, the system of white supremacy is real. With everything that you all just named is all utilized under the system of white supremacy and anti-blackness. And these parents don't feel like that may be their only choice if they don't want to be out there selling dope or doing whatever to move ahead from where they are today. This is what Black Americans have to face. These are some of the choices that we are limited to. But it's crazy because we as a people, right here in 2024, still never developed a way for us to collectively be in control of the choices that we as a people have to make. We let religion divide us. We let racial issues divide us. We let class divide us. We let education divide us. We let so many reasons divide us that most other ethnic groups, at least in America, do not have to face. They do it in house, but they come up with a settlement at the end of the day. What do we do to break that cycle? What is an ultimate solution to break that cycle? The system of white supremacy and anti-blackness have to be destroyed. What do we do to end that cycle?
You know, in the area of sports, that, like, as we were discussing, we gotta be more supportive of people like Ice Cube and doing his 3-on-3 and that kind of thing. Um, you know, when we see these black leagues, these fledgling black leagues, sprout up, we got to support them.
You know, it's got to be something beyond that. Support is a number. It should be without a question, but it's got to be something beyond that.
I I,
We
I
are
agree
on
that
space.
it
We
has to
are
be.
on the. We are on the space. But you know, I gotta say, we have been weakened as a people. I'll toe the line on everything that I say up on Twitter. But you know, we are we are a weak group of people, and white folk built where they are today off of give me liberty or give me death, give me freedom or give me death. While we're still trying to live for today, hoping that we can see tomorrow, we are not willing to fight. We're not willing to risk our lives, and we're not willing to risk our family lives to defeat all of our enemy, our common enemy. We got one enemy. That's the only way that it can end. The only way that you can end it is by cutting it from the root. I'm tired of explaining shit to white folk. I'm tired of trying to get white folk to understand. White people do not have any power. They cannot help us. They cannot help us. They will not help us. Brother Terrell, you got the floor.
What's going on, family?
How you doing, brother?
Good, bro. How y'all doing? Yeah. Hey sis. I think what's up, brother? Negro. Black Knights Heritage. Everybody here. Beta Spec, Rel, Sage, Twizzle, Barry, and E. And our illustrious host, HBK 400 Rasslin. Okay.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, thank you. I think I like to approach it from a systems approach. I look at white supremacy as a network of institutional power, a network of many, many, many hundreds of institutions that work together. And in that system, um, everyone carves out their sphere of power subsidiary to that white power structure. So the only thing you can fight that with is another system of organizational structure. You can't fight or diminish the power of an institutional network unless you have another institutional network working on your behalf. And that's why I always make the call for 10,000 new lineage based institutions in every area of people activity, local to national. So when your garbage men are organized under lineage, when your pimps are organized under lineage, when your doctors are organized under lineage, when your librarians are organized under lineage, and when every neighborhood has at least two political, social organizations, that's what you call a nation within a nation. And it's what every other ethnicity does when they come to this country. They start
Brother
saying,
Tex,
yes, my
I've heard
brother.
I, I've heard you repeat that in many rooms. Okay, in many rooms. Have you checked out my app? Have you watched the videos of what my app does? Because everything that you said that we should be doing, my app helps us do. So my question to you is, have you even looked at any, because I've been trying to reach out to you, brother. So like if you want to get us socially organized, right? Then this is an avenue. Brother Twiz and Brother Negro have been helping me evangelize and get people on here. So you got to help me too. Check me out, and I apologize for double dutching into your cook. I'm getting out from under the jump ropes.
No, I appreciate you, brother, and I must apologize. I have not checked out the app. I don't know why. What's the easiest way for me to get the information, like to go right to your program?
I'll DM you my the link to my website, and you can check everything out.
That's what's up. I will do, brother. I will check it out, man. I promise you that. But
I just want to add one thing real quick, and I appreciate your input, and that is an amazing way. It's ideal, right? But look where we at right now. I got my YouTube page, Rasslin With Racism, and I want y'all to check it out. First of all, because I'm noticing there's a lot of people coming in that may not be from the wrestling world. I want y'all to know that Rasslin With Racism is a wrestling podcast focusing on the system of white supremacy and anti-blackness in that particular field. But technically, if you listen to the content is on all fronts. So as America is obviously parallel with professional wrestling, it's on all fronts. But I want y'all to check out the last three videos that I posted. These are conversations that these white people, not white supremacists, that these, and actually they could be, these white people are having. Just check it out. I'm not going to say anything else. I will send the link in the uh, comments, and I just want y'all to check it out. These people are afraid. They're afraid of these Jews. They're afraid of these Asians, and apparently they want to take it out on us. We got to get ready for a fight. We got to get ready to defend ourselves. This is what these are conversations that these people always have had, but now I can see they're openly expressing that their backs are up against the wall. This is what they're expressing, and you know how these people historically has been when their backs are up against the wall, and this is the mindset that we should have always had. I'll just leave it at that. And brother Terrell, I want you to continue, please.
Yeah, I agree, brother. Like, and we are the easiest target. People talk about a civil war. If a civil war breaks out, like white people won't know who's with them and who's not, but they can see our face and they just say, "Okay, we know they ain't with us." Especially when you have like black people as the face of the assault on Republicans. You have the black prosecutors prosecuting Donald Trump. You got all these attorney generals and all these pundits, and they're black, mostly black women that are attacking Republicans. So they see us as the enemy, and the Democratic Party uses our people as the face of resistance. And so that's a problem to me. But again, like brother, like
I would say both parties, both parties,
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely, bro.
both parties, without a doubt. I take it across the board,
Hmm.
both parties.
Yeah, you're right. Both parties see us as the enemy, and one and the
Actually,
Democrats.
to be honest with you, both parties are one and the same.
Oh yeah,
I personally feel like Donald Trump is losing this campaign for Kamala Harris. That's the ultimate devil that we should be looking out for. Malcolm X said it. We got to stop letting these white folk maneuver us into making a decision. And now we're being put into a position where we're maneuvered into making a quick time decision. When they start bringing out this shit with Project 2024, I look at it on one side, we risking getting killed. On the other side, we risking being replaced. Either way it go, it's a game, and we the fucking pawns. We're the fucking pawns. Why do they continue to play this game with Black Americans specifically? The world may never know. They're declining. They're declining, and they're worried about that too. And I'm afraid that it's not going to be zero by my lifetime. But that's one. That's the only thing I think that we got on our side right now. But I'm gonna just let you continue on that.
no doubt.
I just take blame to both parties.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely, man. And we really got something going on if we really use it right. We have leverage. We just gotta. It's so hard to get our people to do it right. I asked a question in a tweet. I said, if the Republicans are afraid of an immigrant invasion and the Democrats are afraid of a dictatorship, then why are they gambling with the black vote? Why are they not offering a transforming the black agenda that could seal the election for them? So I don't think neither one of them are afraid of nothing. Because they really were afraid of each other, they would come over to us and say, well, look, we're going to do something for you people for your vote. So I don't take the threat serious from neither side. I don't think either side is afraid of anything. Because if they were serious about it, they would lock in the black vote with a transforming the black agenda, which includes reparations. So that's their family feud to have. I ain't in it.
Negro Heritage. I want to. I'm sorry, I'm outside real quick. I want to ask the Negro Heritage Club something. We are 13. We are supposedly a 13% of a people, but we got a major presence in America, and we got a major presence around the world. Why do you believe that is for us to be such a minority of people?
I think some of it is due to the census. The other is because of the economics that's behind it. We don't have an economic force at the moment that reflects our numbers in its purest form, if you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I would kind of go at it from that perspective, from what the question that you're presenting. And
What I mean
if
by
we get
that is what I mean by that is why do white folks still feel the need to get off on us as a 13% of the people? You would think that they have America exactly the way that they want it. Apparently, we don't have any. We're not affecting them in any type of way. If anything, we're helping them. So why do you believe that their actions and tactics are the way that they are, still to this day?
Our resilience and our ability to procreate. We
Well, they
we
want our babies.
we're not we're not as easily exterminated as they thought, and they've been trying unrelenting. Even though there are no outward overt wars, there are covert wars against our people that have been taking shape in one form or another for all of time.
Yeah, that's right. Because we were forged in fire. We have no fear, and they owe us a debt. Let's not forget, they owe us a debt.
So now we established. Now it's obvious they owe us a debt, and it's been established, administration after administration, party after party, that they are not going to give us the debt that they owe us. They are not. It's another way of taking this shit, y'all. And perhaps that's what we're going to have to gear up for because they're not going to give it to us. This is just too many fucking games.
I think it's a foregone conclusion that there's going to be a measure of taking. Yes.
Terrell,
I think,
I'm sorry, Texwell. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, brother.
hey, that I like that name too. I answered anything, as long as you call me, brother. Call me anything.
What do you prefer? What's your preference? What's your name, bro?
Text is cool. Text well, whatever you prefer, brother.
All
Long
right, bro.
call me anything,
I've
man.
been calling you Terrell. That's my brother's name. That's all
Well,
right.
that's for sure. You got that part right.
But no, you go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
All right, I don't mind, brother. I don't mind at all, man. I just think that whatever happens, brother, we have to go back to that model of organizing. We have to have institutions in place because you can't do anything without that. If you don't have that, you just got a group of a crowd of people, one running that way, one running the other way, like like a chicken with his head cut off. And
Now we still got to look at the factor of the government controls every aspect of our being within our
yeah,
communities. They control our educational system. They control our healthcare system. They control everything. They control our taxes that we have to pay. They provide the rules and laws of everything. We have no power anywhere in the country, and that's why you know, white folk can never sit up here and never call any of us racist, right? With that being said, especially the educational system, and I look at the educational system in Detroit specifically, where I'm at. I'm looking at the educational system in Detroit specifically. I looked at them closed about 250 schools, starting with the Malcolm X Academy over the past 25 years, and busing children to different neighborhoods, which just causes all types of problems. And I'm looking at this system, and I'm looking at it as to where they just call us ignorant just for the hell of it. But before, and I don't have no stats in front of me, before we were integrated, when we did have to educate ourselves, we were much more educated as a people when we were separated from the whites. So, like I said, you could talk about building these in infrastructures or whatnot, but we still being put in the wrong hands from birth, which hinders a lot of people roads and directions. Do you understand what I'm saying?
absolutely, bro. And I just
That
think,
base has to be destroyed, or else a lot of people wouldn't even think to have the know-how to even to begin, let alone maintain. You got to remember this. How many black American families has been able to generate wealth in America? I'm here with the Ford family. I'm here with the Illich family and several other families in the state of Michigan that is generationally wealthy. I can't name any Black Americans. So I just want you to think about that aspect, as well.
Yeah, brother. And by the way, man, I appreciate the profile picture you have of that bold, bald, beautiful black man, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. I was there with him at the Million Youth March. I was there at his funeral in Harlem. And I just want to say thanks, props to that brother. But I just think that in this moment, we have to go beyond braggadociousness and machoism, and we got to be strategic. I don't care what it is that you're trying to do, brother. If you don't have a system of institutions of organizations in place, you will not succeed. And our people are, I understand the trepidation because they destroyed our institutions, they destroyed our leaders, they killed our leaders in cold blood. And it makes our people say, well, we want to just like, we don't want to do that because they're going to come for us if we set up institutions. But um, an institution, an organization is in everything in nature. Everything is organized in nature. Everything has a nucleus and everything has a satellite. Your brain is the leader of your body, but your body is an organization. The sun is the nucleus of the solar system. The solar system is an organized entity. So the idea of organization is in nature, and nothing rises above that. God, the creator itself, is the center of the universe, and all things revolve around that. So to be disorganized is to be a big mess. Can't win like that. We have to organize no matter how many times they try to destroy our organizations. We have to keep building, just like they rebuilt Black Wall Street when it was burned down. We can't let the idea that just because our leaders may sell us out, we shouldn't have a leader. Because they destroyed our organizations, we shouldn't have an organization.
Well, that's like I said, and I told somebody this earlier. It's crazy because we are a broken people, and it seems like the ones that have the most will to want to help a people, the system of white supremacy prevents that. These are criminals. These are former felons that may have our best interest at heart within our community, but society will say no, this man cannot represent us because of that, as if a man cannot be reformed. And as we do get to a certain stature, they tend to know exactly when to cut a people off. They knew exactly when to cut the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. off. The government knew exactly when to cut Malcolm X off. I can't help but to continue to listen to the ballot or the bullet, and realize that it's 2024, and every I'm sorry, I'm getting out of going back inside now. That is 2024, and every single word that he said still applies to this day. As a matter of fact, it seems magnified as we are living in this time. Things just cycle and it never seem to change, and they do take our leaders away. Like you said, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. They know exactly when to cut people off. So exactly where do we win? This is every single time now. A people can only go so far. In America, a people can only go so far to a certain extent. That's the shit that kills me. That's the shit that kills me. In America, where we are supposed to be free, and you mean to tell me that I could build wealth for my lifetime and be able to pass it down to my children, but it's a threat that it could be cut off at my children? You understand what I'm saying? I'm tired of facing that shit. Um, Anybody got anything else they want to express?
Do you want to circle back around to the things that I was talking about, or you want to do that another day?
No, you could go ahead.
It was about the
I got about a half hour.
okay. It was about the It was more like about the business aspect about black men and black women in the WWE, like getting the same shine as white couples. That was kind of the
Okay.
things that I observed when I was younger. Like I wanted to see like a black family because I came from one. So I didn't see that, and that was like a major turn off for me. Or they make the black man in the household play the Roland Martin role, if you get what I mean. And these are alpha men, so it's kind
Well,
of disrespectful.
like I said, I want to attribute it to America too because yesterday, let me try to find this real quick because if you look at today's election, everything is the Democrats is trying to gear everything toward black women protection. Now, mind you, these are supposedly black women that's telling me that they're going to be protected under whatever they're being promised. But I'm hearing these Democrats just say women, period, women's rights. Donald Trump is going to take your women's rights. But I don't hear anything as a black American man. I don't hear anyone saying anything for us. Like, no one speaking up in our favor. I'm trying to find this post right quick. I hate how everybody always try to navigate things back to Donald Trump. And like I said, it appears like, and Donald Trump is coming out sounding like such a fool that he did seem like he turning some of his own people against him. And I'm wondering, like, who the hell is this lady? And why do they really want her to be the president of the United States? It seems like she's going to cause some great damage somewhere, especially with all these wars going on around the world. I'm
Yeah, they
sorry,
want.
I got so many messages and shit, I can't even find this. But
No, it's all love,
you
brother.
know,
I really appreciate.
it's like there's no, well, I don't see anything visually to where there is a masculine man in in the country, black American man in the country. Even like the commercials that I see specifically on these apps like Hulu and Prime or whatnot, every single one is a gay commercial about HIV pills. You could have unprotected sex if you and if you have HIV, you could have unprotected sex if you take these pills. Or they showing some type of interracial couple. You may have an Asian man with a black American woman or some shit, or African woman, and they got a mixed baby or some shit like that. There's no positives visually for black American men.
This is what I've been preaching about recently is how these small hats own all the propaganda machines that own all of the imagery that the negative imagery that's programming people. So you're right, you're going to see some fat gay nigga with a woman's nails dancing and smiling and cooking at a barbecue talking about how he's taking his HIV pills and shit. And this is the only approved image that you're going to see of black men, right? And so that one of the verticals and that we need to chase down with a quickness is owning our complete vertical of media. Like if you can't like broadcast on on airwaves your message, you're not completely vertically integrated. Okay, if somebody can deplatform you by pulling out the servers and your internet out from under you, you're not completely vertically integrated, right? And so having a YouTube channel is dope. It is. It really is. But man, spend you anywhere from $100 to $1,000, get you a shortwave radio, and tie a feed into that, because if we're not vertically integrated in every aspect, food, education, finance, whatever it is, then we can't survive as a people. And propaganda is programming. It's the algorithm before algorithms.
And you know what? The thing is, like, I look at people like Oprah who got a television network, and it's she don't even try to gear it towards black people. I mean, Tyler Perry, and apparently Tyler Perry and Diddy tried to come together and buy BET back and for black people, and they rejected that. But
Byron
why is it that
Allen.
Tyler Perry? My thing is, why is it that Tyler Perry can't create his own network? But even when he do create his own network, it still seems like it's going to be full of Tyler Perry esque things. You know what I'm saying?
So,
So,
sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Here's the problem, right? Is that even if Oprah had the interest of addressing her people, which we know she doesn't, but like let's pretend that she did. The key operative thing is that these networks operate on top of other people's networks. And I'll give you an example. I used to work for a law firm a while back, and there was a lawsuit from Walmart to Visa. Okay, Walmart was suing Visa. Why? Because Visa owns the credit card network that all credit card transactions run on. So American Express, even if they're not affiliated with Visa, when you ran their card, Visa still got a cut because you're running on top of their network. And this is the problem if we're not completely vertically integrated. So like another example, when you look at Apple, the hardware, the software, everything is within their vertical. The only thing they do, they source the materials, they send it to China, China assembles it, and they ship it back, right? But they own every piece of the vertical, the hardware, the firmware, the software, all in the vertical. So they don't depend on anybody to get their phones out, right? And so that's why I say we got to own even the signal that broadcasts. And until we get our own stations, right? Then Oprah is riding on some white man's network. Tyler Perry is riding on some white man's network. I'll land it there.